Good morning, Mr. Marlow.
Morning.
How are you? How are you feeling?
Good. Um, if I look down, this is why.
Everybody meet Gooby
Oh wait, where's the camera?
right there. Oh,
He's a wiener dog, not a
you can't,
golden retriever.
it's crazy because you really can't tell because he's so small still.
I know. Everybody thinks he's a golden, like a baby golden retriever.
You are you have a habit of doing major life things at or right after a semifinal.
Yeah.
This is starting to be a trend.
Yeah. Last year was wedding. This
Yeah.
year, my son, my literal son, he's going
Well,
crazy right now on a towel.
you went wedding and then honeymoon right after.
Yeah, wedding like 3 weeks, 2 or 3 weeks before semis last year, semifinals, and then left from semifinals to honeymoon.
Yeah.
Uh, this year we went. My wife went to a wedding. I picked her up from the airport on the way to Oklahoma, and then on the way back, we drove by Texarkana to pick up puppy.
I didn't realize you went to Texarkana. So I was looking at your location to see where y'all were at and saw that you were that way.
Yeah,
Dude,
bro.
that is out of the way for you
It was
back
like
home.
it. It was, but also we would have to go this weekend, and
Right.
it would it would have been just as long. I think it saved us like 3 hours because it was 5 hours from Oklahoma to there. It was 5 hours, and then it should have been like 3 hours 40 minutes back home, but it ended up being five because of dog. He did not like the car, uh,
That's funny.
and then it would have been like 7 hours or close to 8 hours back and forth this weekend. So I guess it saved us time, but it was the drive back was horrible. He would not chill,
It's a
couldn't get comfortable.
big new world for Gooby, dude.
Yeah, he still hasn't even touched grass.
That's crazy.
He doesn't.
That
He still has like 8 more. I think at 16 weeks they can they'll have all their shots. I think.
How old
Uh
is he?
it's like 7.5 weeks.
Okay.
So we got him a little early, but only because we asked.
No, that's fair. I mean, we got Ringo when he was like 8 weeks, I think. So that's a good time to get the dogs. Good time to get the pups. Uh,
Yeah.
how many times he woke you up in the middle of the night?
Last night was actually good. We started off with him on the ground. I don't want to just lock him up in his kennel because I don't want him to view it as like a punishment and start to not ever want to go in there. Because
Mhm.
right now he'll go in there and kind of chill and play with his toys a little bit. Uh, but the first night it was like 3 or 4 times.
Yeah.
We let him sleep in the bed. Yeah, we let him sleep in the bed, and
Hey,
then
I can't throw stones at that. Like people are gonna say you shouldn't. I, we weren't going to with Ringo, and the first time he got like sick, we freaking folded like an origami goose, and now our dog sleeps in the bed basically. So,
yeah,
and
the first
he's
night
good.
First night he was too. He just sounded too pitiful. He like screams,
Yeah.
and now he's way more comfortable because if I held him, he would just sit. But now he's like, no, let me down.
Right.
I
Right.
want to do what I was doing.
All right. Enough about dogs and how much joy they bring to everybody's life. So you just competed out at the TFX Invitational.
Yes,
This was technically your third semifinal.
yes,
I'm probably going to refer to it as a semifinal because I think saying in-person qualifying event is too much.
mouthful.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's too much of a mouthful for me. So, anyways, I wanted to hop on here. You obviously had a great showing. Um, third place podium, just one spot out from a games qualifying spot against a pretty good field. I know there's a lot of criticism about the depth of the field and things like that, but at the end of the day, you've competed against a lot of those guys and they're decent semifinal level athletes. And then obviously Nick and Chris are games veterans at this point. Um,
I gotta
what do you
move,
do? You got to
bro.
move.
Bro is going
Oh,
insane. We're doing this in the bedroom.
I knew this was gonna happen. It's all right. This is good. Did you charge your phone like I said to?
Yeah,
Bless, bless, bless. Um, anyway, so I kind of wanted to go through just the weekend, kind of event by event, get your perspective. I feel like people are always interested to know what is going through the mind of higher level athletes before they go through events. Like obviously, I kind of have an idea, and then I thought I'd give my perspective on watching the events unfold and the anxiety at which I feel sometimes watching you compete. Um, so we let's start with check in. We had check in. I think check in was pretty smooth and chill. Um, what did you think of the venue?
It was nice. I was surprised. Usually TFX is dirt floors,
Hmm.
so I was worried about that. But it was nice. I mean, nice air conditioned, nice floors. They had rubber mats, which I was excited for the handstand walking event.
Right.
Because usually it's on dirt or somewhere slick.
Hmm.
Uh, but it was pretty cool. There wasn't really I guess they had a little athlete area with tables, but not like I
Yeah.
mean, I was kind of I sat in the what is it called? The vendor
They're in the
village.
village technically. Yeah.
Yeah, I was like taking naps in the middle of vendor village and stuff. People just walking by between the event.
I yeah, I feel like it had like a kind of old school feel because of that, or maybe a more local competition feel. Because a lot of
Yeah,
athletes were just kind of out in vendor village or hanging out outside or at the other competition pad, and they
yeah,
were
it
just kind
did.
of chilling.
It did feel like, and maybe just my perspective, because a lot of the guy, so many of the guys I've competed against for years now, felt like almost like a local comp because I knew everybody.
Sure.
It
Sure.
was like a low comp, but then there was still guys I didn't really know. But I knew, I don't know, probably 10 or more of the dudes that I've competed
Right.
against like my whole career. Uh,
And that, I guess that, to be fair, that could just be something as you continue to compete against more higher level people as you get better, it'll kind of eventually feel that way,
yeah,
right?
yeah. And like, I mean, even Nick and Chris, I competed against them in Crash
Hmm.
and talked to them there. Uh, we didn't really talk much until towards the end of the comp. I
Yeah.
guess just, I don't know, you're in it. And when
Yeah.
you're all up there, first, second, third, you're like, all right, keep to myself.
Yeah. We're friends, but we're not friends right now.
Yeah. Then once the weekend passes, it's like, all right,
Yeah.
then we can cut it up.
Yeah.
Uh, but yeah, venue was nice. I was really impressed with TFX. Usually each year they get a little better. I mean, I've done TFX. I don't know, probably maybe for 4 to 6 times. I can't remember. They
Hmm.
all blur, but each year there's something. But this year it ran off smooth. Even TFX in January, both of them were pretty smooth. I was happy with both of them. It was nice this year. The venue, and I think I told Jeremy this deal, uh, to not have to clean red dirt out of my nostrils
Yeah.
every night.
Yeah. Yeah. When we go to TFX in Austin, everybody's usually just covered in dirt at the end of every day. It's in your
Yeah,
nose, it's in your teeth. Even if you're a spectator or a
yeah.
coach, it's just
A-
everywhere.
Athlete area is the worst. I mean, it's in a big. It's fine, but it's in a big ag barn, and you
Yeah.
could you could look across to the other side and see a red mist in the air.
Yep.
Remember, you
Yep.
walking, all your stuff is covered in red dirt.
Yeah.
But
All right. So let's kind of jump into it. So we had the first event was Friday afternoon ish, and that was the kind of chipper style event. So you had the 100 wall balls, 50 toes to bar, 50 cow row, 50 step overs, and then half of that on the backside for each movement respectively. So kind of let's go with your thoughts and kind of how you felt going into that event. I'm sure we'll discuss like you and we talked a lot about game planning that workout, but just what was your kind of initial thoughts warming up for that event, getting ready for that event? Where was your mind at?
yeah, that one I just knew. Day one was that chipper, and then the next one was uh, Isabel. So I was like, all right, we just gotta get through this first one, and then we can get to the good stuff.
Right.
And game plan was just to go in it smooth. When I practiced it, it was, we did farmer carry step overs, and that was the whole workout. I mean, I almost got time capped the first time I did it.
Hmm.
because I went out hot, and then this time they changed it to you could hold it anyhow. So I held it on my shoulders, and I was just thinking, smooth and steady through it all. I could push the row a little bit more on the front end, and then the
Mhm.
back end was just whatever you got. Uh, Smart sets on the toes of the bar, and then descending chunks on the step overs. I think I
Mhm.
went 22, 16, 12, which
Yeah.
is same rep scheme we did on the pill thrusters at Crash Crucible.
Mhm.
Um, just kind of getting over that first third or so hump with the 22. You drop 22, you rest for maybe 5-10 seconds, and then you're like, all right, it's only 16.
Right.
And then you drop 16 and you think it's only 12. Uh,
Yeah. Yeah. I think we had talked a little bit about this, but we didn't really dive into it. Um, I think we could have broke those one more time.
Probably. Uh, it was smoother than I thought. I mean, I just threw the dumbbells on my shoulders and got going, and then I
Mhm.
did this little. I didn't figure it out till I think after the set of 22 or something. But
Yeah.
locking my fingers behind my head, and then using my arms to keep the dumbbells up there,
Yeah.
which was actually super clutch. I saw some people steal that from me in the other heats.
Yeah.
But yeah, we probably could have broke it one more time. And my shoulders were sore after that event. Not because of the workout, but because I got beat up by the dumbbells.
Yeah, I've seen you work out so many times, obviously in competitions and in training. It's like I almost in my mind had an idea of what your facial expressions and body language should be coming off of the first set of or the first half of the workout. And I remember watching you and you got done with the step overs and went back to the wall ball. And I was like,
Yeah,
that
I got the,
doesn't look great.
the plan was to jog, but transitions, and I walked that one
You
hard.
definitely walked
I
that
might have,
one.
I think I power walked it, but then I got to the wall ball and squatted down for a second, and
Yeah.
in my head, I just thought it's not going to help me to sit here. I might as well just.
No.
I'd feel better taking a rest after I got some work done than rest before I started on 50 wall balls.
Yeah.
Uh, I just knew in my head, I started with a set of 15. That's what I tried in practice. I just
Mhm.
knew I was like, if you can't do 15 wall balls, you suck. And I
Positive
was like,
self-talk.
yeah, I was like, you can do freaking 15 even if you're tired, and then you can
Yeah,
rest.
for sure. What was the what was the worst part of that workout in hindsight?
Step overs,
The
step overs.
last
Just
the last 25?
not even the last, not even the last 25. It's like the last 25. I remember I got to 15. I remember I started it and I was like, you can drop at 15. You can go 15-10. And then I got to 15, looked at the clock, and it was like 18-11. I was like, all right, just go. Speed it
Yeah.
up. Bye.
Yeah. It's a underrated athlete thing to do to lie to yourself mid-set on something.
Yeah, I do that all the time.
You do it all the time. Kelly used to do it all the time.
Yeah, that's who I
Um,
learned it from. I remember Kelly used to say, and I stole it from her, like, if you finish these intervals, you don't have to do anything else today. And then you
yeah,
finish them, and then you do more.
you still do what you're supposed to do. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Cool. So that ended up going. So we finished that event. You ended up getting seventh on that event, I think.
I think that was a
Um,
surprise to probably both of us. Longer
yeah,
event, a lot of reps. Um,
kind of
not that I
leg endurancy, which is like
Yeah,
not.
I'm not bad at any of those movements, but maybe when you put them together,
Mhm.
I think I just had a good game plan. And maybe I'm fit.
I think after the weekend, we can at least say you're fit to some degree at this point.
Yeah, it was somewhat consistent. Uh,
Yeah, yeah. We didn't have any like crazy swings except for one event, kind of. So
yeah,
we'll get to that one. So yeah, so seventh in that event. It definitely was a little bit of a surprise to me. From a coaching perspective going in, I was like, okay, if we can be top 10, like 10th or better, I'll be really stoked. Um, just because higher volume, longer events are just typically something you've had to work on, right?
yeah.
Um,
Maybe the last 2 years semifinals. Usually the first workout, I bomb because it's always running.
that's true.
And maybe in the back of my head, I was thinking first event I'm supposed to bomb.
Well, you didn't, so it was
Yeah.
good because that would have been a bummer if you did.
Yeah.
Um, so okay, and then we came back that evening. Well, I mean, we didn't really come back. You stayed there and just slept in the vendor village, which I thought was. I feel like competitors thought that was strange, but I know you, and that's
Yeah.
kind of your thing.
Well, I don't like to leave. I prefer not to leave the venue if I don't have to, unless there's like if there's like a 6 hour, 5 hour,
Right.
you know. Well, there were some 5 hour
Mm,
gaps.
ish, close.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I usually don't like to leave the venue just because I like to be in it. I could sleep through anything, so I just lay a pallet on the floor. Usually, I have AirPods and I'll put them in, and that makes it super easy to go to sleep. But I didn't bring them this time,
What
so
did
I
you
just
say to me? Was it day 2? You said, "Do you leave your work day halfway through work?"
yeah.
I
I'm
was
not,
like, "All right."
I didn't want to go home, take a nap, and then be all relaxed. I didn't want to shower, take a nap in bed, and then be relaxed and be like, man, I have to go hurt really bad later.
Right.
It
Right.
just easier, and it's only like a 20-30 minute power nap. Anything longer, and it's like I just fell asleep.
Right.
Ugh.
All right. So the next event was obviously Heavy Isabel, the event everybody I think is kind of sick of at this point, but it is what
Yeah,
it is. Um, Obviously a pretty good event for you. Um, you've been doing Heavy Isabel practice for 7 weeks, 8 weeks,
yeah. As long as Gooby's been alive, I guess.
something like that. Yeah,
A long
I mean,
time.
you had 1 week off because of team semifinals
Oh
because
yeah,
because I was convinced you guys were gonna do Heavy Isabel and you didn't, so I should have just had you do Heavy Isabel prep anyways. Um, but obviously a good event for you. You're a great snatcher. You're a strong snatcher. Your snatch consistency is good. So, what were kind of your thoughts? Like, I was very confident going into that event that you were going to execute the game plan that we had practiced so many times. Um, but what were your thoughts going through that event?
yeah. We tested it, or we didn't test it fully. The closest we got was 24 reps. The game
Yep.
plan was every 10 seconds hit a snatch. So we started. I ran down, hit a snatch as fast as I could, and my first two I think I hit, not touch and go, but pretty close.
Pretty fast.
Yeah, just followed it down just to get on pace,
Mhm.
and then every 10 seconds. So it's every 7 seconds it would get to 7, 17, 27, 37, 47, all those. My hands would get on the bar and I would lift and I'd be done by the 10.
Right.
uh so I'd have 7 seconds to rest each time. It's like a 7 to 3 rest.
Mhm.
uh and we tested it on the 9. Now looking back, we tested on the 9 and it felt too hot because I did it after I did everything else in my training
Mhm.
day, because game day on the 10 was not hard. um but
Your snatches didn't look any different until your last 3.
Yeah, and maybe we did game plan that right, because I did all the way. The plan was to go to 24 reps and then push the last 6, but I had to transition after 25.
Mhm.
So I was like, it doesn't make sense to push one,
Right.
move it forward, and then push 5 more. So I just pushed the last 5, and it ended up being pretty good. I mean, I got
4th.
fourth, like 442, 443. Um,
Something like
but
that. I know you missed 3rd by 3 milliseconds.
yeah, yeah. Uh, Yeah, that sucked. But uh I liked it. That one was definitely the least painful of the weekend. I mean,
Sure.
it was just, if you put me on a clock, it makes it way easier. Uh
Yeah, and I feel like we had some practice with having you lift moderate to heavy loads on a clock in quarterfinals last year
yeah.
with the clean and jerk event. We put you on like an 8-second clock or something.
Yeah, 8 or
Something like that.
9.
Something
Yeah.
like that. And it worked very well. And it was like,
Yeah.
oh, okay, like if we can give you a clock and just turn off your thoughts and let you get into a rhythm, you can move a moderately heavy barbell for a very long time.
Yeah, every time you hit it, it's like, good job, good job.
Yep. Yep.
Positive
You're
reinforcement every
positive
rep.
reinforcement. Yeah.
Yeah.
Um,
Uh. Yeah, but Isabel's pretty simple. I didn't feel like that one was. I went in with a game plan, so it was like I knew exactly what I was going to do.
mhm.
There wasn't that much of a surprise at the end. It was like the surprise, I guess, was okay. You went about 10 seconds faster by pushing the last five.
Mhm.
Um, I guess I went on the 9 for the last five. Dang, felt like it was way faster. Um,
Might have been a little faster if you account for that, like the time loss from that transition.
yeah, that is true.
Um,
Uh, but yeah, that one was good. Nothing insane about it. Nothing remarkable other than the judge's head or one of the guys' heads being in the way of my clock. I had to move him.
I I was waiting for you to tell him to move.
Yeah, I was looking around his head for a while. It was like just in front of the seconds
Right.
part of the clock. And eventually I just pointed and was like, you move. And
Get
he
out of
knew
the way.
exactly what I meant.
Yeah. I feel tough. I feel for them sometimes because it's tough. They don't know what you're trying to do. They don't know that you're literally
Yeah.
using the clock and they're trying to be out of everybody's way. The lanes are pretty tight, right? Like,
Yeah. I don't know who that was. It wasn't a judge. Maybe it was a head judge or something, but and then my floor judge, I was planning on just chunking the barbell. And they would always stand in front, which I guess made sense. So I could see them counting, but it made me had to. I could chunk it a little bit if they moved, but then I'd have to roll it.
yeah.
But transitions took up less time than I thought. It made one rep rush, and then I was back on pace.
You
Uh,
also did a good job. You would roll the bar into like the next block on the floor, and then
yeah,
you would just squat down, roll the bar to you, and hit your lift.
yeah, yeah. And I think other people I talked to, they didn't plan. Well, we didn't really. I didn't practice transitions, but they said that it messed them up. It made them go a little slower, which it definitely could have made me if I would have let it. If I if I would have been okay getting off my time. Um,
Yeah, I knew that with the transitions, like I had planned the whole prep to just like tell you, hey, you have to do your first one after the transition fast,
yeah. Uh,
and then you can settle back in on pace. Um,
yeah, I think like Matt Brady, we talked about it after, and he said he was going on with 10 as well. He just, I think he would readjust his 10 seconds. He would hit it and then move his bar,
mhm,
and I guess would just lose time each transition. And I
like
just,
3 seconds.
yeah, I knew I was, not that he isn't, but I knew I was good enough at snatching that I could rush that first one and get right back into it.
Yeah, Matt's a pretty good snatcher. He might have been able to hold that if he would have counted for it and been right there with you.
Yeah, Matt's good. I think if it's one rep, he's still not bad, but
No.
I think he struggles a little more. But he's really good at moving a bar for a lot of reps.
Yeah,
Uh,
absolutely.
just fit.
Yeah, and then we chose to squat snatch all of them,
Oh yeah,
which
just way easier.
yeah, just way easier for you as an athlete. We had discussed a little bit like, do we power X number, do we not? But you're super consistent at squat snatching, so it just made way more sense. And power would wear you out over time.
Yeah, honestly, I wasn't sore at all from Isabel. Maybe yeah, I wasn't sore at all from it. But if we would have done power, I think I would have been sore.
Right.
Um, just it's so much easier to. I mean, I just barely pull it and then just drop under it super fast.
Right.
And like narrow grip snatch it and just stand it up quick. Uh, but I mean, I talked to some people. I don't think a lot of people considered. I think most people just assumed power snatch until you can't anymore.
Hmm.
Which for us, it was like a no brainer. Just squat snatch them all. It's so much easier.
Yeah.
But I mean, if you think about it, I mean, you're not going to do like on the pull-ups of the gymnastic workout. You're not going to do them until you can't do any pull-ups anymore. You're going to break before you have to.
Right. You're not going to do strict pull-ups until you can't do strict pull-ups anymore and then kick your
Yeah.
pull-up.
Yeah,
Right.
exactly. So I
Yeah.
mean it kind of translates to that as well. All right, what's
Yeah.
the next one? Is
What was the next one? Oh, the two-parter, the legless,
oh yeah,
shoulder to overhead, and then so that was the next morning. So finished up
yeah,
day one in a good spot, and then you had the legless, shoulder to overhead, and then the thruster rope climb.
yeah. I was there for that one. Oh.
I could tell in the warm-up area.
Just I was sitting in second after day one, and I was like, bro, this is 200 points. I can't screw it up. Uh, and so I went, or the first one I knew when I tested it, the legless one. I think I did it in like 4 minutes, and then we were in the warm up area and hearing people do it in like a minute and a half. I was like, wait a minute,
We're cooked.
yeah. I was like, all
Yeah.
right, here we go.
I was like,
And
man.
yeah,
Yeah.
and then it turns out the ropes were short. I think they were probably, I don't know how tall they were, probably like 13 and a half feet. Because I was doing them in four pulls. I would jump up one, two, three, and then I would slap it on my fourth.
Yeah.
Um, and I actually talked to him. I forgot my water bottle after the event, and so I had to go back, and they were like almost completely done tearing everything down. And I talked to the people that were running it, and one of the ladies said that they changed it. So they also did Mayhem Classic, and it just kind of sketched them out how tall the legless rope climbs were, like for the girls,
Hmm.
and people basically they were scared that they were going to fall, so they shortened them to just where the tape line was for the girls, and then they decided to just do it across the board for the guys too.
Sure.
Um, which I think, I mean, it was still a good pulling test because the best pullers did well. I mean, Bill, Nate,
Hmm.
um, but I think it would have been an even better pulling test to have gone all the way to 15. Just the pulling fatigue accumulation is
Yeah.
way more. I mean, like a 2.5 minute difference between testing time and competing time. I mean,
Yeah.
I did six legless rope climbs in like 45 seconds, something absurd.
Yeah.
Uh, just one after the other. But that one was good. That one didn't hurt near as bad as it did in training.
Shoulder
Uh,
to overhead, it just looked you all were like spazzing out.
yeah,
Like, it looked like
yeah,
the whole field was just like
yeah.
just trying to
It
go as
was
fast as y'all could.
it was just like kind of uncomfortable. You do the legless, it was just a spastic workout. You do the legless so fast, as fast as you possibly could, and then run as fast as you could to the bar, bust out 12. Make sure you extend your arms, head through your arms and knees and hips,
Hmm.
and back to the rope and back to the bar. It was hectic, but it was kind of fun. Uh, and then the legless one, or not the legless, the thruster one. That one was just go steady. Uh, I started and plan was, you know, unbroken on the thrusters. I could cycle it pretty fast, just going at a what feels normal pace.
Hmm.
Um, and then use the rope climbs to kind of catch my breath. And we got into it. Starts with the rope climbs, and Nick Matthews right next to me, and I see my first two reps, I'm two pulling, and I see he's one pulling the rope, and so I'm like, all right, change of plan, and I start one pulling,
Hmm.
and then uh, it was way faster than I thought it was going to be. I mean, I one
Yeah.
pulled every rope climb, and would barely make it up, just barely slap it. Some of them I had to do a kind of legless, one
Yeah.
pull,
Like a half pull.
yeah, just to get to that tape line. Um, but it went well. I mean, I just went steady, smooth, tried to mitigate. At one point, I got, I think, one rope climb ahead of Nick. And I just thought, okay. Actually, at one point, I was pacing with Nick. On the rope, he pulled and I pulled. I was like, okay, if Nick's going to do well in this. And then eventually, he might have slowed down on one or something. And then I caught him and got one rope climb ahead. And I was like,
Mhm.
okay, if you could just stay one rope climb ahead, do not let him catch back up. Because at the end, he's going to push. And if I'm a little bit ahead, then, you know,
Right. You got
I
to
should
push
be
through and
okay.
stay ahead.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's what I did. And then at the end, I mean, he was on my heels on the thruster. I mean, it was only five, so I busted him out, but he busted him out just as fast. But that one was fun. It was way more stressful than I thought it was gonna
Yeah.
be. It was
200,
just
200 point event.
yeah,
Stressful. Like
yeah, yeah.
stressful.
And I don't know how many of those I've actually done. I don't think they've had any of those semifinals. A 200 point. Oh
Mm-mm.
no, the run and snatch, the max snatch. But
Yeah.
I wasn't. Yeah, my first year at semis. I
That was
wasn't
a
planning
that
on
was a
winning
hundred
that.
point event for you.
Yeah, 100 point, and then whatever I can get.
Yeah. Yeah. That was 100 point for you, and then just see what happens on that 800-meter run.
Yeah,
Uh yeah, and I mean they've done those at TFX, so you've had some experience with those. They've done those kind of two-parters with work arrest, but
yeah,
never for a semifinal level competition.
yeah,
Personally, those for me as a coach, I think are the most stressful, like top 3 most stressful kind of events to watch.
yeah.
Because it's just like, oh my God, there's so much that can happen right now, especially when it's 200 points and it's events like that are just sprints basically.
Yeah, they were both just so fast that if you mess up anywhere, you were kind of screwed. If you
Yeah,
got one no rep on your leg list, then it's like, oh, there went 5 to 7 spots.
at least.
Um, I think I probably just got right before the bell curve on the leg list. I got I think eighth.
You did. You went sub 140. You went sub 150. And
Yeah,
the bell curve basically started at 150. It was like 151 or 150, 151, 152, 153,
yeah,
154, 155, 156, like all the way up after that.
uh-huh.
So yeah, you did what you needed to do for sure.
Yeah. I was
And
happy
I
with that one after.
I knew the thruster one would be good for you. And the rope climb one, like you're good at rope climbs, you're good at thrusters. For me, looking back at that one, the only thing I would have wanted you to do differently is just be reckless the last round.
Yeah,
Just
yeah,
reckless.
yeah. I was
I think you could have held on.
yeah,
But
and that's I was still kind of I started to hurt. The last 3 legless into 5 rope climbs. I just knew I was like, okay, like get to the rope and do them at a moderate pace. Kind of watch where Nick is at.
mhm.
Um, what did I get on the third on the rope climb?
Third on the rope climb one, I think. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So it paid
Yeah.
off.
Because you
Um,
and you and Bill like flipped. You were eighth and third, and I think he was third and eighth or
yeah,
something like that.
yeah. Um,
Um, so finished up the stressful event, did pretty good. Kind of did. I think with the legless one, whether I think if it was a true 15-foot rope, maybe you do a little better. But I think we weren't really surprised in your placing in that event.
yeah, yeah. I agree. I mean,
Like you're a good puller, but you are a heavier guy, and there's just some people who can just fly up the rope.
yeah,
And the shoulder to overhead didn't really impact anybody. Like if the shoulder to overhead was 245, maybe you could have, made up some ground on the lighter guys who are really flying up the rope.
yeah. I mean, not that it
But
would have made a super significant difference, but when I tested it, the shoulder overhead felt way harder with all the fatigue in my biceps from a
mhm,
15-foot rope and having to slap a beam. Uh,
yeah,
but they were fine this time.
yeah. So then the next event for Saturday, so this is Saturday evening, the old Echo bike.
Yeah, this was the endurance event, at least to me. I mean, that this was one that I'm not terrible at echo bike. I'm not the best, but I figured this will probably be the one that I have to try the hardest. Basically, damage control. Um,
Yeah.
I thought I could do okay. I ended up doing decent. I think 13th.
Mhm.
Uh, but that was by far my lowest finish of the weekend. And that was just, need. I'm way better at the echo bike than I was last year. Way better at running, way better at burpees, all that stuff. But still, I mean, Mike got an
Dude,
insane number.
he could have been done after the sixth interval.
Yeah,
He could have
yeah,
just not.
yeah.
And he would
That
have got
dude can
his 100
hurt.
points. Yeah, yeah, he's a big boy.
Yeah,
Uh,
but
y- yeah, I mean, you moved through the rope fine, which I thought the rope was going to be more of a factor for more guys. The rope ended up not mattering at all.
yeah,
Um, you were like the second one off your burpee box get overs every round, which
Yeah, either
for
first or
you
second.
for you to maintain that while you're hurting on the Echo bike is definitely like a good sign of progress for you and I in the last year.
Yeah, they weren't really. I mean, they got hard, but not so. It was just I had a pace, I had a
Mhm.
cadence. You know, get down fast, step up, jump right on the box as you're stepping up, and keep that same pace.
Mhm.
I think I the higher a box jump, burpee box jump over gets, the better I do.
Yeah, it
Um,
slows down the cycle speed just a smidge
yeah,
if it gets
yeah,
higher. Yeah, I
yeah.
agree.
So burpee box get overs are probably my better, probably my best burpee um, variant.
I could see that.
Yeah,
I would
just
agree with that.
and I didn't have. I mean, I remember in the warm up area we were trying to. I was trying to steal some people's ideas of how to get over the box, but I just didn't have the hops to get over it like Bill or
Yeah,
Nate.
well, and if you look at a lot of guys, they started with that, but they didn't finish with that.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
Bill did, but there were other guys who were doing that kind of butt tuck slide thing, and that
Uh-huh.
did not play out for all 7 rounds.
Yeah, it was just too. I mean, for me especially, number one, it was hard for me to just get up on the box and be in a position to where I could just slide off of it. You know, it.
Mhm.
I get my knee up and then I slide through. Um, but also, even if I was able to, I feel like it might have just raised my heart rate. You know, some
Right.
people were belly sliding, which I tried, and it was just awkward and felt like
Super awkward.
took more effort rather than just have a smooth cadence and move through it, which ended up being fine. I knew I wasn't going to bike the hardest, so I had to be smooth on the box.
Yeah.
And I really wasn't planning to be one of the first ones off. It just ended up happening. Uh,
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, that one was I don't know, that one was stressful for me to watch, but not as stressful as others, I guess, because like we got updates after every round, right? When they flipped the scorecards.
yeah.
And then, once you guys finished like round 5, I had a pretty good idea of like just where you were going to finish in the heat.
Uh-huh.
Um and had already kind of started to see where you would finish overall just cuz you're not going to make some massive comeback in the last 2 rounds, right?
Yeah. I mean, my
Um
last round was the most calories, but
yeah,
everybody
yeah.
else too.
Everybody else is going to push too, right?
Yeah. My
Yeah.
lowest calories was 16. I was hurt. I was hurting that round. And then
Uh
but I made up for it. Last round I went 24 calories, which was in like 55 seconds, so that was pretty quick.
yeah,
Um,
you put out hard on that last one. I was reading the judge's lips every round when she would tell the guy before he'd do your cows. And when she told him 16, I was like, "Oh no.
yeah.
This is not good. This is not the
Yeah.
plan."
I don't even remember what I think that was round 4 or 5.
I think it was 4 or yeah, it might have been 5. It might have been 5. You went like 21, 20, 19, 18, 16. Yeah, so I think it was 5.
Yeah. And then I think I went like 18
18.
or, and
Yeah.
then like 24.
Yeah. So
Um, yeah,
so
so we're
that's
gonna be
that's
doing
one that showed
a lot of echo
improvement.
bikes.
Yeah, that one showed improvement, but we're not quite where we need to be against a field
Yeah.
of fit guys. Um, I mean, you weren't crazy far behind, which is good. Like obviously, with an event like that, you start to get a placing like every 2 calories, every calorie.
Uh-huh.
But yeah, we got some echo biking to do, my guy.
Yeah.
Um,
Echo biking, running and burping and pulling.
yes, and pulling and pressing
Yeah.
endurance. Um, so that was the end of Saturday. I think you were sitting third,
I
right?
was tied. No, I was tied for third. Yeah, yeah, third. I was tied for
Yeah,
third after the rope climb event, because Nate won both, and
got
then
himself 200 points. Yeah,
yeah, and then he dropped a little bit. I got third. Um,
yeah, because I think he was like 16th or something on the bike, maybe 17th.
something like that. Yeah,
He
he was
wasn't
probably
far
gassed.
behind, but he was hurt and
Yeah, he was gassed from that rope climb event.
yeah. Okay, so then Sunday morning, the last day, you had the gymnastics workout basically. So sandbag squats, handstand walk, uh, ring muscle ups, and then handstand walk, and then the next round was chest to bar, and the last round was pull ups. Um,
Bring me my money.
bring me my money. Yeah, so that's a really good workout for you. Sandbag squats are an easy movement for you, um, and you're very good at gymnastics. We do a lot of gymnastics. I probably program with a gymnastics bias if I had to self-analyze myself. But
Yeah.
so I know I feel like you were in the warm-up area. I feel like you were excited for that event, but didn't want to be too excited because it was an execution event to you kind of needed to not screw it up early.
Yeah.
And also where you were at in third place, like, okay, we got to try to do good work here. But I feel like you were excited for that event.
Yeah. The big question for that one was, do we go unbroken on 15 ring muscle ups or do we break at 9-6?
Hmm.
Uh, uh,
Boy needs some coffee.
I know. I haven't eaten breakfast yet. Uh, but that one, when I tested it, I went 15 unbroken. I was like 2 seconds slower than my test time.
Hmm.
And then I unbroken in testing and then 9-6 on game day. Uh, just because I figured, you know what? How often is it that you win a workout on the first movement, basically? It's third, So
Yeah.
plan was keep the squats fast, bust out 10 and then kind of single 5,
Hmm.
pause at the top. And then smart sets on the gymnastics. I think I went 8. Yeah, I went 18-12 on the chest to bar.
Hmm.
And then I don't even remember what the plan was for. I think in my head, I thought breaking the ring muscles at the beginning would allow me to go like 25-20 on the pull ups, and it did not.
No.
I actually went smaller sets than when I tested it when I went unbroken on the rings. When I tested it, I went 3 sets of 15,
Hmm.
and game day I went 15, 10, 10, 10.
Yeah.
Uh, and then that I had a decent little lead on the next person behind me, and then I was like, I need a second before I do this handstand walk. The last minute, I just knew if I failed the handstand walk, I would Chris would beat me and Nate would beat me.
Hmm.
Uh, but if I just took a second, then I would probably get Chris on this one, and it ended up being close. I mean, tenth of
Yeah.
a second.
And that's one of those calls where it's like if you don't go unbroken on the handstand, you're cooked, like you said. But if you wait and you go when you know you're okay to go, it's just down to like, okay, does he handstand walk faster than me?
Yeah,
Which is just like, hey, if you got it, you got it. But like, you still have to do what's smart for you, right?
yeah.
Um,
Um, but that one was good. That one was a smooth push. You couldn't, and I had you at the end of my lane, going 5, 4, 3, count me down, and I was watching. Every time I was like, I don't want to jump up. I'm not ready, and I would jump up.
yeah,
I like it was never too much at a time. It was like you can do 10 pull ups or 10 chest to bar.
it just
Uh,
hurts. Like,
yeah, and it's like by the time you're in it, it's like you're kind of done for that one.
yeah, I mean, like 10 pull-ups, you're gonna get 4 or 5 in before it actually starts to get any worse.
Yeah, yeah,
Right.
like it starts to hurt on the back half of the chest to bar,
Hmm.
and then it's like okay, I handstand walk down, squat, handstand walk back, pull up, and then I'm basically done.
Yeah, one
Uh,
little handstand walk left.
yeah. So that one was good. I was happy with that one. I think I got second. Yeah, Trayvon smoked it.
Yeah, Trayvon. Shout out
Yeah,
Trayvon Benton. Yeah, that was his workout, and he knew it.
yeah,
Unbroken on the ring muscle ups. I think he went 20-10 on the chest to bar, and I think he went 15s on the pull ups. It just cooked that workout.
yeah. I
Uh,
was I was surprised. I thought he would have done that well on the box step up one. I thought it would have been. I didn't know he was that. I didn't know he had it like that on the gymnastics. I think. I mean, I didn't go back and watch him, but he probably got after those sandbag squats. If
He
I
did. He did.
if I had to, I mean, he's pretty. I feel like he's good at sandbag stuff.
Yeah, and
Um,
he's a good squatter too, like you. He's strong.
yeah,
He's good on his hands. 30 foot was not really enough to really give any of you guys a problem, right? Like
yeah,
you get a little bit of fatigue accumulation, but like it's not. It's more of a don't mess this up than oh this is really hard.
yeah.
Um,
Um,
but yeah,
so
he did really well. That was cool.
yeah, I had a
He,
couple little bobbles. I remember when I started, I did my first 15 sandbag squats, and then it's not that I forgot how to do the handstand walk. It's that I didn't realize the line was right behind the bag.
it was
So I
super
turned,
close,
I turned around, running to like hurry to get to the line, and it was right behind me, and I ran past it.
dude.
Uh,
So funny.
yeah,
Not
and
not in
then
the moment, but it's funny.
yeah, and then
You
one of the
didn't move
rounds,
the bag forward.
which I understand why they did it, but it was weird because I feel like you don't ever do it like this. But you had to, you picked up the bag, advanced it, and then did your reps instead
Right.
of reps. I'm so used to doing my picking it up, getting right to your reps, and then walking it forward and throwing it over into the next
Right.
box. Um, so one of the rounds I picked it up, did two squats. Everybody yelled at me, move.
Dude, I was
Uh,
like, move forward. I was freaking
luckily
out.
it was at I had already moved it to the front of my box, so I did two reps, took a step forward, and then just continued.
Yeah. It wasn't
Um,
that big of a deal.
yeah, it didn't end up actually hurting me, but it almost did.
I mean, if you hadn't done those two things, potentially it wouldn't have been as close of a race at the end.
Yeah,
Like you might have had 5 seconds on Chris,
yeah, or
but
maybe I would have rested more before I
r-
had to kick up.
right. Yeah, you never know. Like it's hard to know in hindsight, right?
Hmm.
Yeah, that was a good event. That's a good event. Like if you're gonna have a bobble or two, I want it to be in an event where it's kind of wheelhouse for you.
Yeah,
Uh, you can kind of figure it out and recover if you need to.
yeah.
So that was good. Um, and then all right, so then the last event, little run, little 550, 600 meter run, and then 4 cleans at 225, 3 cleans at 275, 2 cleans at 315. So what were your thoughts going into that one? How did you feel about it?
Well, when I tested it, I felt like I had a secret. I felt like I had a secret about the workout that nobody else knew if they didn't test it, and it was that 315 got to be a maximum effort.
Yeah.
Because when I tested it, I did the same, or I did a little bit different. I cycled 225 for four, just touch and go to
Hmm.
power, and that was fine. And then I powered all three at 275, and then which like I had to rest between. It ended up being slower than squat cleaning, I think. And
It was.
then 315 in testing, I failed. To be fair, I only warmed up to a 275 squat clean because I thought I got it like that. And usually I could jump from 275 to 315 and it would be fine. Yeah, it'd be a
Mhm,
little heavy, but nothing. It's not that heavy.
mhm.
And so I ran the workout. I got the 315 bar. My first attempt, I literally just do a clean pull because I was like, "Whoa, that
That's
is."
heavy.
Yeah, it came off the ground slow. So the first attempt, I did a clean pull. Second, it shot me from the back of it, and
Mhm.
then I was like, "Okay, I guess I need a belt." Went and grabbed my belt, and then I hit the two. Um, After resting like 20 more seconds.
Yeah,
Uh, so game day, I knew that okay, if you didn't test this, you don't know that 315 is going to get hairy.
yeah.
So the run wasn't max effort. It was, you know, go to 80%, 90% effort, like a hard effort for
And
what it was.
you did kind of what I expected you to do on the run. Like you came in last to the barbells in the little kind of conga line that you guys had to do going around around the field. But
Mhm.
that was kind of the plan. Like
Yeah, I
you
mean,
were
I didn't necessarily,
you
I
needed
didn't
to
plan to go last.
I know, but like you needed like I didn't expect you to be in the middle of the pack on the run. It was like
Yeah,
you need to be with everybody. But even though you were the last one, once you guys kind of got bottlenecked into the going around the floor, I wasn't like freaked out. I was like, okay, like this is all about the barbell, anyways.
yeah. I didn't expect to be last in on the run. I It was such a short run. I guess it's not really something I thought about, but I was surprised when I found myself in last on the run because I was like, dang, these dudes are putting out right now to have passed me, and then it didn't really pay off for them. I don't really remember who it was. I mean, I was the middle lane, so like 4 or 5 people passed me, um,
Hmm.
and got a decent bit ahead of me. But then, we came in and we had to go around the competition floor, which was everybody had to slow down because you can only go so fast, and
Hmm.
that was enough time for me to catch my breath
Hmm.
and get right to the bar. And then I went 4 touch and go power cleans, 225, 3 squat cleans at 275, which the plan was to power one, squat the last 2. But I was like, what is powering it going to do for me? Like I knew that my legs weren't going to be the thing that isn't getting 315 up. Like if I catch it, I'm standing up.
Right.
Um, so I just did all 3 at 275 squat cleans because I knew that it would be quicker. I wouldn't need to rest as much between.
Hmm.
And then got 315, took a second, and just pulled and was like, please make it under this bar.
Please,
Everybody,
God. Hey God, it's me again.
yeah, we were all so close. And I just knew that I was kind of banking on other people to fail. So I was like, I need to take a second because I know how hard it's going to be. And if I go before I'm somewhat ready, I wasn't ready, but I was apparently ready enough because I didn't fail them. Then I would fail it.
That last one at 315 looked like a clean I've seen you do at like 375.
Yeah, it
Like
was no, my 375 cleans look better than that.
honestly,
It
probably.
it
Like
just it was just accumulation of pulling the bar and using your hamstrings and quads so much on the run, and your heart rate being, almost maximal. I'm just not getting under the bar quite as fast,
yeah,
and I'm not probably not pulling it quite as far.
right.
Uh, so I'm just pulling and praying and hoping I get under it. Because if I get under it, could stand it up. Luckily, I
Yeah.
got under.
Yeah, and I mean guys missed. Like Nick missed one. Um he didn't like fail one, but he missed, right? Like
Yeah.
he kind of got under it and like didn't commit and like popped back out. And he hit
Uh-huh.
his next one pretty quick after that. But and in the earlier, I don't know who else missed in the final heat, but I went back and I watched the earlier heats, and there was a lot of guys who were just getting spit the fuck out,
Yeah. Yeah.
like
And then
they were just getting spit out at 315.
yeah, and then EJ went and cycled 315 just to
He,
flex.
yeah, I was like he would like
Yeah.
took his time though before he did it. Um, yeah, so I mean, I think that one went pretty well. Like there's some takeaways from a training perspective on that workout. Like you have the raw strength to do that a little faster. It's just kind of strength resilience or strength endurance.
Mhm.
Um, and the big jumps I do think made a difference more than I think people thought it would on paper. Like
Yeah.
225 to 275 is not like a crazy jump for any of you guys, but 275 to 315, especially when it's that fast, that's a real jump.
Yeah, I mean, 40 pounds under. Not that the run was the worst thing. I mean, the run we all pushed it, but by the time you got to 315, it accumulated.
Hmm.
Yeah. But I was happy with that one. I knew going into it that for me to have jumped into second place, I would have to do really well, probably win that event,
Hmm.
and Chris would have to probably have the basically a career low.
Yeah, like
like
a meltdown of epic
yeah,
proportions.
like the
Like
biggest the biggest fumble he'd ever had in his career, and I was like, I don't really count on Chris doing that.
No, and he
So
ran a super smooth race in that event. I think he got like 7th.
yeah,
Like he took his time. He stayed right behind you and Nick, and
mhm,
like he made sure all his lifts were quality, especially when he got to 315. And he did exactly what he needed to do.
yeah. Which I think I would have had to have gone. We would have had to have 10 spots between us. So I would have had to be first, and he would have been like I think 11th.
11th or
And
12th. Yeah,
yeah, and it's like the likelihood because if he would have got 10th and I'd have got first, I think he had an event win or he might have had higher placings,
he had higher placing.
so it would have gone to him. But so I was like, the
Yeah,
likelihood of that happened isn't likely. Uh, and I was already surprised at that point. I knew I would do well this weekend, better than I'd ever done in any semi, but I didn't realize I'd be in third. And I was like, oh, you know, hard to beat. I would have loved to have got second, obviously, but it was
for
hard to
sure.
be. And I'm always glass half full. It was hard to be upset that I didn't get second when I didn't even plan on getting third.
Yeah, I know for me, like, and we don't usually go into comps with like. I mean, we talk about it and we set expectations, but with this kind of a competition, it was like, okay, like, you just did team semis, you qualified for the games on a team. My goal for you going into this was like, I think we can be like top 10 in this field. Like,
Yeah, that was
I think we can be top 10, maybe a little bit better, and we can show that we've gotten a lot better at the things we needed to in a couple of these events.
yeah. I didn't really put a number on where I wanted to finish over the weekend, but in my head I was like, I want to be top 10.
Yeah.
Um,
It just
if
felt
that's
like where you should be.
yeah, I was like, if I'm 10th, I guess I could be happy with that. Uh, but if I got 11th, I'd been like, just because in the back of my head I had 10th. So
Yeah.
I say I didn't put a number to it, but I guess I did.
Yeah, I feel like we do that like intrinsically too sometimes, even if we don't say it like out loud.
Yeah.
Right.
So I mean, I was happy with the weekend. There was those two little mistakes on the sandbag clean, very minor mistakes,
Hmm.
but overall it was super clean run. And definitely, I mean that was my. Let's see, I've done Crash Crucible, I've done Wad Gods, the Fittest Experience in January,
Turkey challenge.
Turkey Challenge, which I didn't get paid for, 3 grand.
Nobody got
Uh,
paid. They did y'all so dirty.
Reps ahead got paid, which whatever.
Oh yeah, they did.
Crash, Wad Gods, Fittest Experience, Turkey Challenge. I guess we'll count the Open
And team semi
and online team semi. So this was
7.
seven, comp 7 of the year. Open doesn't really count, but online team quarterfinals definitely does, or semifinals. So 7, 6, depending on how you look at it. And then we've got the games in August on a
Yeah.
team. I mean, we could run the last chance qualifier, but I'm not hell bent on running it.
Yeah, we haven't really talked about it, but
Yeah, I'd rather focus on making it next year. I'd rather focus on making it next year. Going into the off season stuff I mean, off season training and games training, at least for me, are
very
probably look
similar.
pretty identical, maybe a few different things.
Yep.
But I'm gonna be running, pulling, pressing, burping, all the things that I'm not as great at. And then yeah, I mean I think I could definitely make the jump next year. Uh just depending on who knows how they're gonna set the season up. Maybe they'll do it the same way they did this year. Maybe they'll go back to semifinals last year. I don't know. I don't imagine them going back to the way it was in the previous years. I
I
hope they
don't think so.
do, but I feel like, and I don't know, but I feel like CrossFit saved so much money this year not hosting semifinals.
Yeah,
Um, and I mean, I don't really think the semifinals are making that much money
I'm sure they're not.
just because I don't know. And this is completely off topic. I don't understand why they did team. This is my first year doing team, and but I don't understand why they didn't do team in person other than
Nobody
to just
nobody
cash a
knows, man.
check. Yeah, I mean it doesn't make sense when they had teams. and pretty much all of the semifinals.
I think they'll go back next year and have the teams qualify from the in person again,
Yeah, I
or at
agree.
least some degree of them, some amount.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, te- only reason team was on the table this year is because it was online, and in past years I would have had to decide, do I want to go indie semifinals or team semifinals?
Hmm.
Because they're the same weekend, same event. But it was nice this year to not have to pick, or I might have never done team.
Right.
uh,
Yeah.
I mean, I've always said I'm indie till the wheels fall off.
Yeah. I
Uh,
don't think you would have given up your individual semifinal invite to do a team.
yeah, I mean, it's probably, and I've told people this before. Like, I think I'm just too selfish to give that up. It's like I want to know what I can do.
Yeah.
Whole reason I do CrossFit is like to have fun and to see what I'm capable of, make myself proud. Um, and team, just 1 year, and the team we have this year, I think we can do well. So it'll
Hmm.
scratch an itch, but usually there's no itch to scratch for me with team in regards of why I do CrossFit.
Right.
Um, I think it would be awesome to go to the games and contend for top five or podium spot. Um, but it'll be fun to do it this year. That's not something I say I would want to do every year, but
Hmm.
this year I'm like, let's try it, see what it's about. If I ended up loving it, um,
Yeah.
I'd probably still do indie, but
it's
I
not a
don't.
bad. It's not a bad thing to try something different.
Yeah, I'm just selfish in that way. Look at this little guy.
It's just out like a light, dude.
Yeah, he loves our clothes.
Yeah, I think you said it best with uh your post after TFX. Like, not quite this year, but I think both of us feel pretty confident about the next year and like at least the roadmap to continue doing what we need to do. I told who did I tell after semifinals last year? I want to say it was Scott from Clydesdale, but I don't remember. I was talking to somebody, or maybe it was just Trevor, and I said my goal for you was to jump that gap in fitness this year.
Yeah,
And the criticism could be like, oh well, like did you jump that gap, in a deeper field, whatever. I think the reality is like Nick and Chris are both very, very good guys who do very well in any field that they're at. And you were trading blows with those guys and obviously finished right below them. So, like, for the work we did in the last 365 days, the proof is in the pudding. And we know what we need to keep doing for the next 365 days to hopefully make that kind of a jump again. Right.
yeah,
And
yeah,
if we do that, then I think we'll be in a really cool spot going into whatever semifinal we go into next year.
yeah. I agree. I was definitely happy with this semifinal. I mean, I went into the weekend knowing, I mean, not knowing, but in my head, I just thought I've come so far in the last year in my fitness, but I didn't feel like I was quite there with the running,
Mhm.
um, which that bleeds into other areas. But I think I think this year I would have held my own better on a running event,
Mhm.
but it helped me that they didn't have one.
Sure.
Um, if they had a running event, I think I still would have been top five. Um,
Yeah, I think you
but
would have.
I don't know if I would have been third. I don't know. I might have been. I don't really know what the point gap was between me and fourth, but
20 something points. I think 27 points between you and Nate, something like that. 21, 27,
yeah, I mean it
somewhere
was
in there.
too close for comfort if they had a running event in there.
Sure.
Um,
Sure.
so luckily I got lucky this year that they didn't have a running event, and then next year I would have. I think, and we talked about it. I think I would have been middle of the pack last year on the running event at semis when I got like second to last year.
Right.
But I think if I did it now, I'd be middle of the pack, and I need to be upper end of the
Upper
pack.
mid pack. Yeah.
And I think in a year's time, I can do that with
Oh,
a
yeah.
full year of running, because we've really only spent the last, what, 4 months really running.
4 or 5 months. Yeah. It took
Yeah,
us a long time just to get you up to volume.
Yeah, I mean my shins and knees couldn't handle it at first.
Yeah,
I feel like I had to mitigate shin splints for months.
you
Uh,
did. Yeah,
yeah, and I just couldn't push for long enough.
right.
After a certain amount, I would just be out.
Yeah,
We were off pace, and it didn't make sense to do it off pace running unless we were just going for volume. Um,
yeah. You're really good. You were already really good at running slow.
yeah,
We didn't
yeah,
need
I
to
didn't
do
need
more of
practice.
that.
Yeah, exactly. Uh, but now I'm much more comfortable holding, you know, good paces, and I think we just keep pushing into that and making even better paces and be able to extend it for longer. Um, which is a lot of what we're going to be doing this summer. And I'm
Yeah.
excited for it.
I
Um,
mean, they already announced event one for the Indies as a 4 mile run, 3K row, 2 mile run. And I commented, my guess is the team event one is a 4 mile team run.
yeah.
It's always something super similar.
Uh huh. Yeah,
So
I
it's
can
like
definitely see that.
some
I'm
kind
not
of a
mad we
long
aren't
run.
swimming.
You're swimming in your training though. You clearly haven't looked at Fitter next week.
Oh, I mean, I'm fine. I do want to swim. It's nice. Weather's
It'll
nice.
it'll be good for you.
Yeah. I almost went for a swim yesterday.
Yesterday would have been a good day too. So
Yeah.
all right, we'll wrap this up. I appreciate you hopping on with me, kind of going over this, giving people a little bit of a different perspective from our athletes. Um,
Yeah.
enjoy your last couple of days of chilling, and then we'll get back to work on Monday, bud.
All right.
Say bye to Gooby, everybody.
We got a little white spot on his head.
It's cute. All right, later, bud.
Bye.